are healthy babies in a hospital. They are here because there is just no other place for them. Many were born here, but most were found somewhere without parents and brought here. They are racially mixed, which is a special kind of curse for an unwanted child. Because there are not enough nurses or social workers to take them there, these babies have never been out of doors. Because there are not enough people to teach them or help them, they have not learned how to walk or play. So indoors, confined in their cribs, they wait and they grow.
I don't think that the world is really ready for it yet. Perhaps in the future.
That is an understandable point of view. The problem for little Barry is that there is no other view.
Do you tell everything about the child's background, or just what you feel is something we should know? Is that how it usually works?
Well, I think perhaps...
The way it usually works, Joan Augusta now knows, involves more appointments, more talking, more checking. The fact that the Augustas are back for another chat with caseworker Pat Gray is, however, a hopeful sign. They would have been notified before this if the agency felt they were not suitable as adopting parents. So here they are on their best behavior, husbanding their inner anxieties. And for Pat Gray across the table with her awesome responsibility, there are inner thoughts too.
It's during the course of our home study, we're really working together, the family and the caseworker, exploring their interest, trying to see if they would meet the needs of the children for whom we are planning. If a family will meet the needs of a child, they're pretty sure of their interest, they're ready for adoption. Often the home study moves along very quickly. However, for those families where we really know we are not able to place a child, the decision, of course, is difficult to make. We know what heartbreak it will bring. Nobody wants to be rejected. And yet, this decision must be arrived at in a number of cases, and it's the hardest part of the job to tell a family that you are not going to have a child for them, you're not going to be continuing with them.
No such heartbreak faces Sam and Joan Augusta now, even though they may not know it. They still face the closer scrutiny given to the chosen parents, but waiting for them too when they finish the ordeal is their child. For if they have been successful this far, the child they will have has already been born, processed, and surrendered, and is nearly ready for the choosing. There is one day in the process of adoption when Sam and Joan, twinned and together until now, are separated for Pat Gray's gentle but persistent questioning. In these separate talks, the conversation may be easygoing and casual, but the subject leads inevitably to the inner attitudes of these young people about the fact that they have had no children.
I wanted to explore a little bit more with you some of your feelings, really, about not being able to have a child of your own. I'm sure this was disappointing as you went through some of the medical exploration.
Well, it is disappointing, and we do want children, so we looked into adoption. We're eager to have children. You never give up hope, you know. You always figure, well, something will happen and you'll have a child, but as time goes on, you want the child now. You don't want to keep waiting and just hoping like we've been doing. So we'd rather adopt now, and if we have our own, fine. If not, at least we still have one. See, when we bought the house, that was the main reason buying it. We're, you know, thinking about a family and the future. I guess that's part of getting married, thinking about getting a family. We've always talked about having a family, really. Never thought too much of not having one. I don't think a home is a home without children, really. You know, you come home and you have your children there, and I don't know, it's more of a family, more of a home, I guess.
You're pretty active in the church, too, aren't you?
Yes. Well, we go to church every Sunday at Sunday school, and I teach a joy club on my block.
Oh, what's that?
Well, we teach the Bible and about Jesus to groups of children that will like to come. I mean, it doesn't make any difference what denomination. They just like to come. We sing songs, do a little craft work. I think it'd just be a wonderful thing when we have a baby. As far as the feeling towards its natural mother, I feel it's wonderful that she would bring it to an agency and knowing that it would go into a home where the people would love it. I give her a lot of credit for doing something if she can't take care of it herself to do that.
If a child in later years asked you something about his natural mother and his natural father, whether they were married, whether they weren't, do you think there would be one situation that you'd be more comfortable in handling with him than another? Say the young unmarried girl as opposed to maybe even a mother and father who were married and who came in and surrendered their child.
How would I tell him,
Do
the
you
child?
think you could handle one more easily than the other, or do you think you'd feel about the same?
Oh, I think it would be about the same, really. I mean, it's a situation that when it comes time to do it, I think you think about it, but I mean, it's hard to say exactly what you would say when the time came. But I don't think one situation would be any harder than the other to tell.
Because I think, too, so often how you feel about some of these different situations ties in so closely with some of your own feelings about not having a child.
I think every couple, when they get married, the big thing is to have a family. You look forward to that. As far as taking in somebody else's child, once it comes into our home, it would be ours, and we'd love it like our own. That's how we felt.
Do you think for you and for Mr. Augusta, too, you would really say there was a period of adjustment of getting used to the idea of not having a child of your own? Or at least the possibility being slim?
Well, we've wanted one, really, since we've been married. I always wanted a family. Of course, I was the only one in my family and always thought of having at least two. It was quite a disappointment, it really was. But as time goes by, I guess you get used to it. I mean, it's something, it hits home. I'm not saying it doesn't, but...
I think probably as you watch other people in the family, even close friends, having children. It's
Oh, yes. Yes. Like I say, it hurt many times. There'd be many times you'd cry about it, too.
There must be a day when Sam and Joan Augusta, weary of questioning, bowed by intimate disclosure, wonder if there is no more direct method of adoption. There is. Had they chosen something the authorities call the gray market, they could have stayed out of these Spartan hallways. They could have gone to a doctor or lawyer and arranged something called a private placement. It is perfectly legal, and most people do it. In private placement, the child is taken by a lawyer or a doctor straight from the maternity ward to the adopting parents. The important legal work comes later. The simplicity of private placement has outraged the adoption agencies, and agency complexity has incensed the private placers. The result, as you will see, is a soft-voiced but bitter controversy.